Well, hey, Sam, thanks so much for sending it back over here to the virtual set. Today's conversation centers a little bit more about project management, one of the skills really that a lot of folks in the AV industry need to at least have a baseline understanding of. To talk a little bit more about that, I brought my friend Elizabeth over here. Elizabeth, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Ben.
So Elizabeth, on a high level, when we say things like project management, what does that mean in the AV community?
In the AV community, that means a wide range of things. The project management touches so many facets in this industry. In fact, even to coordinate this whole live event took a level of project management. You have to manage people, resources, and especially budget and time.
Look, I believe that. It's funny to see what goes into a show like this, especially on a day like today where you see all the cranes driving by, and Sam mentioned a lot of the noise happening out at the show floor. But when you talk about project management, you know, what is that? Obviously, we talk about what it means, but what are some of the things that people can take away maybe from folks like you who have been in the industry for a while?
So, are you familiar with the quote, "If you do not remember the past, you are doomed to repeat it"?
I am unfortunately very familiar with that quote.
So in our industry, any type of project can take weeks or months or even years. And if we're not prepared to figure out what happened in the past to better improve the future, then we can't plan and improve some of those mistakes that might have happened in the past.
Well, what are some of those common mistakes for folks in the industry?
So a lot of times we sometimes have issues with resources, budget, scope, and what we can do quickly. There's a technique called lessons learned. And lessons learned is a very quick technique you can use with your team. And one of the things it does is it helps improve knowledge with your team. It helps build skills for future improvement. It helps with preventing repeat mistakes, and it helps share knowledge throughout your team. So in lessons learned, I know we're always worried about time. You know, time is so important. But there's a quick technique you can use with your team called a plus delta tool. Have you heard of that before?
I have lightly heard of it, but I'm certain you know more about it than I do.
Okay, so with a plus delta tool, with your team, you're going to make two columns. And on one side, you're going to write what went well with the project. On the other side, you're going to write what you would like to improve with the project. And it takes just a quick amount of time that you can do with your team. And then you can have a lot of takeaways and action items to improve your processes or improve your practice in the future, so you are not doomed to repeat mistakes in history.
Well, Elizabeth, last question, and then we'll wrap with this. You know, I've already seen so many incredible new faces to the industry at this show specifically this year. You know, you've got folks like IT, you've got folks like educators, you've got folks across hospitality, healthcare, so many different places. How would you recommend that people start from an AV project management standpoint? Obviously, that workflow is a little bit different than a lot of those other industries.
Well, I think project management workflow is similar in those industries because I have a PMP certification, but I manage projects on the education side. So it is just understanding the process of your team and understanding the workflow of your team and making sure you streamline those so that they're efficient. And again, with that plus delta tool, you have to make sure that when you take that tool and you implement it, you not only document it, right? We have to document history, so we make sure we understand the history. And we have to share the knowledge so that everyone on the team is aware of what we would like to do to improve. And then we have to make a plan to implement those changes in the future.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being our very first guest on School Me. We appreciate you coming on. Hey, wanted to send it back over to Ben and Sam at the desk for a lot more great conversations.